Hi, I'm Sandy. I'm here again. I'm the spice lady and the latke maker, and now I'm the soup maker. I'm making a Pistu French soup. I'm sure you're going to love it. I just want to make something clear. Because I'm using two words that are very close together, the Pistu and the pesto, the Pistu is the soup part. That's P-I-S-T-U. And the pesto is what's going in the soup, and that's spelled P-E-S-T-O. So those two words are synonymous, but not the same. This recipe was given to me a long time ago, and I love it. Each year I make it more and more. This is a special time for me to make that soup around this time. And I've made it twice already in the last couple of months. I start by buying a wedge of parmesan cheese. And here I have two. One that I've had in the freezer with the rind and the cheese, and the other one I just bought recently. It also has the rind, which you need for the soup, and then the parmesan cheese. And both of them are the same. One's just a little smaller than the other. The cheese is for the pesto, and that I'll explain in a couple of minutes. But the rind I put in the soup. I go to the grocery store into the vegetable department, and I look to see what vegetables are there on sale or what they have in their counters. The only thing I don't do is make sure you don't put beets in it. That's a different kind of soup altogether. It's called borscht. In the meantime, these are the veggies that I've used. I use celery, and I use the leaves from the celery. I have green beans that I use. This is carrots that I've cut up. This is cabbage that I happen to have in my refrigerator, but I also have put it in the soup. I have a leek here. The leek is delicious, but you have to make very sure it's clean. I use a whole onion, but the leek is delicious. It's just that it's got a lot of dirt in it, and you have to go through every single one of these things and put it under running water, and it'll be great. It'll be perfect. Then I have parsley, garlic, potato, sweet and white. And that goes in the soup. I want to make sure that you brown those vegetables in the soup pot with a little bit of oil. Don't brown it so that it's dark, just so that it gets just a little bit of flavor. That'll help build the flavor in the soup. And then I add a pressed garlic clove. To all of that, I add a can of stewed tomatoes and a can of white beans. You have to drain the beans. Drain them and rinse them under cold water. So all of that depends on the size of the pot. This is the pot that I use. It's my soup pot, so this is the one that I use. I use boxed broth, low sodium. Hopefully you can find it in the store. The other day when I went to look for it, they didn't have it. But the grocer was putting out new soup, and I asked him if he had low sodium, and sure enough he did. But if you've got a chicken that you've made, a roasted chicken, you can save the carcass and put it in the freezer, and then you'll always have your own soup. You can make your own stock. Of course, you can make your own soup, or you can add the soup stock. At any rate, you want to make the soup so that the liquid comes about this much to the top of the pot. You don't want it to overflow, but you want a nice bunch of liquid in there. And then when you do it, you put a pesto seasoning, and it's a bouquet garni is what they call it. It's a French word, a bouquet garni. Now this is a little piece of paper, but a tablecloth, a cheesecloth. But that's what I had. I cut it off of a big piece. I have a much bigger piece, but I didn't cut a bigger piece. In the meantime, what you do is you make a bouquet garni, and you make it with peppercorns. Now, these are colored peppercorns, red and black and green, but if you have black ones, that's fine. I just happen to like the colored peppercorns because I use it in my grinder. And then I also put in bay leaves, a couple of bay leaves into the cheesecloth. I put thyme into the cheesecloth and Parmesan cheese rind. I mean, this rind is ridiculous. It's a little big for this little teeny piece, but if you have a bigger piece of cheesecloth, then you can put more in. And then you want to put the parsley in the cheesecloth and tie it up. Put your salt and pepper. I like to put the salt and pepper. I like the peppercorns, of course, are there, but I like to add a little bit of salt to the pot. It's better to season it yourself after everything has been cooking for a while. So here is the cheesecloth, and then you just tie it up like this. That's why they call it a bouquet garni, because everything is inside this. This is a little teeny thing. But nevertheless, that's what you use, and you put that into the cheese, into the pot. And then you're done. You just have to let it cook. So it's not that it's difficult. It isn't difficult. You just let it cook for a couple of hours. And then taste the soup to make sure that the salt and pepper is correct. You want to make sure you remove the cheesecloth. You sure don't want to serve your family or your company a bag. So now for the pesto. You won't believe how the pesto is really terrific. It's not hard to make. It's just if you know what you're doing, it's very easy. So in a bowl, 5 cloves of garlic and a small electric chopper. If you have an electric chopper, it works beautifully, really, really beautifully. And then you use the rind, and you can use dry basil, but I happen to like the fresh basil. But if you haven't got fresh basil, you can use the dry. And then I use the grated Parmesan cheese from the rind. And you just add a little bit of oil, and in the food chopper, after everything is made, you can drizzle the oil in as the chopper is going around. So it gets to be, so it kind of looks like this when it's done. This has got the oil in it already, and it comes out, it's perfect. It comes out fabulous. Then when you get the bowl, take some of the pesto and put it in these little dishes, little ice cube trays. And you'll see that when you freeze it, it gets hard, and then you can take it out of the freezer bag and put it in bags, and then put it back in the freezer. But then you always have pesto. You can use it on pasta. You can use it in the soup. You can put it in with shrimp. The shrimp. It really works when you get this pesto. It's fabulous. And then I have a friend who is a French chef. And the other day I was telling him what I was going to do, and he said, the French do not put nuts in their pesto. Oh my God. Well, I already had made the pesto, and it had pine nuts in it. So it's going in the soup, and guess what? That's the way it's going to be. The pesto and the pine nuts are in the soup. The soup is going to be a hybrid. It's French soup with a little bit of pesto in it. And Brooke is going to have the recipe. If you want it, she'll have it, and she'll either send it out or put it online. And I just want to tell you that I love doing this for you. I hope you enjoy the soup. And I'm Sandy in my kitchen, and I'll see you next time. Bye.